Welcome back.
Hi guys.
How you doing?
How
How's it
you
hanging?
doing?
How you living? How you doing? Welcome back to our second episode of Don't Cry Over Spilt Tea podcast. Thank you so much for listening again. You guys listened the first time. Thank you for listening again.
Mm-hmm.
We really appreciate it.
Yep. We learned a lot in our last podcast, and we definitely thought we spat out some mantra bullshit at the end.
Absolutely. So we won't be doing that again, and we're going to save you all. What is something that you learned from our last podcast?
I learned that if I ever say right or absolutely again, I'm going to lay down on the light rail tracks.
I learned...
What about you, Erin?
I learned that I have a career as a girl who dresses up as a witch on Halloween because of my cackle. I'm never laughing again.
Don't have to force the
I also
costume.
learned that there's no filter for your voice, and that's a fucking bummer, because I'm,
Oh,
like,
and it
waiting
hurts.
for somebody to create that technology.
Yeah.
I mean...
Where's, like, the sepia for
Right?
my voice?
God, can I get an Oslo for my mouth? Honestly.
So, let's get into the goop.
Should we get goopy?
I think we should.
Goop-a-loop.
So this week's goop is so funny. It's so funny. So we're talking about flatulence protection undergarments. And what that bulky word means is fart protecting underwear.
And if you're at home right now confused or like going, what is that? What could that be? Let us enlighten you.
Yeah.
These things are called shreddies. These things are called shreddies. Somebody sat.
And they picked over so many better ones, in my opinion, like rippies.
Or like
pooties. Like shardies.
cooties.
You know, there's just so many other ones, but shreddies is funny. I
Shreddies
like
is
shreddies.
super funny. My confusion with this, again, Goop of the Week is... We couldn't make this shit up, if we tried. Like, Goop of the Week are real products that are being sold on the internet. So...
And we all know that you can be whoever you want on the internet.
So what's crazy about this device is Stephanie showed me this, and I was like, well, this isn't real. And I spent the entire night trying to debunk, this thing that she brought to me. And you guys, it is real. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So, my trouble with this is the following. You had a group of adults sit in a boardroom and come up with this concept, which whatever, fine. And they were like bouncing around names, and someone raised their hand and went, I think we should call it shreddies. And nobody in the room laughed.
Yeah.
And nobody in the room was like, Bill, sit down. And everybody was like,
And they're probably on a bender all night. They've been thinking about this, and somebody says shreddy, and the other person's like, that's magic. We've got it. And they're all pulling their hair out and like...
Imagine being one of those guys and being like, talking to your wife at home and being like, God, tomorrow's going to be a really big meeting. We're talking about, what we're going to name it. And just like, what should I do? And having that be what keeps you up at night. I mean, the quality of your life at that point.
Yeah.
And
I think another good rule of thumb for Goop is like, if you can't present it to Shark Tank without getting kicked out of the room, it's Goop. But the science behind shreddies can be comparable to that of Febreze. So like how they show you in the commercials how they like convert the like bad air to like the good air, and it goes through this filter. Like same science. Like there's like a literal pad/pouch on your ass, and I guess it just diffuses the fart, shart, whatever.
Okay, but here's my question. I mean, I understand how it works with, like, farts, but what happens if somebody actually shits their pants?
Oh, I don't think they can help you at that point. And I think they probably have, like, a non-disclosure agreement that says, like, we are not responsible.
You have to sign,
for
like, an
anything
NDA about the
fart.
fact that, like, if you anything
so.
past the fart, we're not liable.
You can't sue us. But these people make jeans. They make pajamas, which doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It's like, unless you're going over for, like, a Tinder date and you need your shreddy pajamas, like...
You guys,
why
I
don't you
keep it together?
People rip ass in bed. Like, I just feel like it's a thing.
And also, it's just, like, the target audience... I mean, who do you think shreddies are for? Besides, like, that one girl who is going on a Tinder date who, like, pretends that she isn't human and doesn't fart. Who is that? Who are these for?
I think these are for people who go to Golden Corral once a week. People who go to Taco Bell.
People who eat at Sweet Tomatoes.
People who smoke cigarettes and drink coffee. could use Shreddies. I mean,
people who are going on a job interview every day.
Yeah. I think categorically it can fit a lot of people.
I mean, categorically it can fit a lot of people because they're all humans.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Right.
I mean,
right,
everybody...
Right. And
everybody poops, you know?
Poops.
Everybody poops. And like I said, I would love to just get a customer review. I would love, you know, if any of you guys can find us online some reviews of this product or some people that you know that have them, I'd love to, you know, like I always say with Goop, I'd love to have you on the show. Like, I want to talk to you and ask you questions about your life.
And we're your Shreddies because we are in a closet recording right now. So. But, you know, even if this is for people that actually... I don't know the syntax for this, but like a farting disorder, like anything related to that, I just think it's insulting to call them Shreddies. Like,
me too.
Don't give it such an easily attackable name.
Yeah.
Like Rippies, Shreddies. It wouldn't have mattered. Don't add an IES.
Call them like, this is a medical pan. And no one's going to touch it. Like... nobody's gonna sit there and make fun of shit for people with real problems.
Like Flatulware.
Like, it really... it Shreddies. So here we are. Like, come on.
So Shreddies are fucking hilarious. Like, if like Shreddies CEO hears this and like, also, wonder how it feels to like give your company card to like the Outback and it says like Shreddies Inc. I'd be asking questions.
I can't, honestly, yeah, imagine that. Did you want it all on the card, sir? Yes. Shred it up. I can't. I really can't. Anyway, Goop. If you're out there, if you have a pair of Shreddies, my phone number is...
Alright, so now that we've
been gooped up
and fired on all cylinders of Shreddies, we're going to get into our topic, which I think has left everyone dazed and confused.
Yeah.
About going to college.
About doing anything in life. About being a millennial.
Yeah.
I mean... What the fuck is a social media influencer? What do you think, before we get into it, what's your perception of it? Because I don't really know what it is.
I'm going to say, like, anybody that has a substantial platform based on solely followers.
Okay.
And uses name brand products.
And then...
and the video is, like, central to those.
Okay, so here's... Can I tell you where my confusion is?
So name dropping happens.
Who's paying...
Right.
People like Tammy Hembrow? Who pays her bills? It's that like when she puts something on there, is it the company that she's sponsoring pays her because she has a ton of followers? But that doesn't ensure that they're going to buy the product. I guess that's just general advertising at that point.
Well, maybe they get like let's just say like Teamy blends or like whatever or anything, you know, whatever.
Fit tea. Oh my god.
Yeah, fit tea.
Fit tea. My tummy's never been flatter since I've used 5 day. Like, I've been eating air for 5 days.
It's like, we went back 5 weeks. Yeah. We know you're not using it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think maybe what happens is like Instagram's taking out the picture. That's just like your platform. I think that maybe you get, let's just say $200 for posting this. I'm lowballing.
Okay.
But, and then they have their code. They're like, use Tammy40 on Teamy's website. And then you probably get a small percentage.
Oh, because that's how they track how many people
costs. Right, so they're
have
not
been
just
viewing it
shelling
through her.
out money. Right, so it's only, so that's, I think, that's why all these people have different codes, because they can see who is being, you know, who's
being brought to the business by specifically that person, and then maybe they get paid some type of commission or... See, when you break it down like that, it makes me understand it more, instead of just scrolling through my feed. You know what's the craziest part of a social media influencer for me?
What's that?
Is that these people aren't famous. These are not like... It doesn't freak me out when I see Kendall Jenner, like, swipe up, because it's like, well, you're Kendall Jenner. I don't even know what the fuck you do with your life. I don't know you.
Oh,
it's like...
The biggest mindfuck, I think, out of all of them. If you guys haven't checked this chick out, smoke a bowl, and you'll have something to do for 4 hours. I guarantee it. Money back, if not. Trisha motherfucking Paytas. If you guys don't know who Trisha Paytas is... Okay, Trisha Paytas is... I think her net worth... I looked it up before. I want to say it's in the, like, 1.7 million-ish range, and I'll look it up.
So the same as mine.
Yeah. Before taxes. Right. So, this chick does something called mukbangs, or, like, I don't know where the fuck that was.
What?
Yeah. Food hauls. We'll just call it that. She will deadass order 4 pizzas... And this is all from, like, one company, so let's just call it Pizza Hut. 4 pizzas, 2 pastas, 2 cheesy breads, a dessert bread, 2 liters of soda.
Wait, is this that blonde girl?
Yes.
Who, like, sisters, like, hey, y'all, and, like, eats a ton of shit?
I don't think she's from the South.
Okay.
But,
I don't know who I'm thinking of.
But she does this for, like, Pizza Hut or whatever and tries every single thing and actually, like, runs a little bit of a train on all of it. Like, makes sufficient progress on this stuff. All right. Mukbang. Okay. Mukbang.
That sounds like a dirty word for, like, having crazy sex.
Is
the mukbang.
like incest with a pig in a bong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it says a mukbang is a trending live stream fad in South Korea wherein somebody prepares and or eats on camera. So
it is Asian. It is Asian.
Yeah, but she definitely, like...
makes it American.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the second definition says it's an internet fad that finds viewers watching binge-eating copious amounts of food.
Okay.
And the trend began in Korea in 2011.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right... What the fuck is wrong with us? And just trailing into something else, like the whole ASFMR thing. Do you know what that is?
No. ASFMR.
Oh my god, I can't wait to tell you what this is.
What is it like? Is it an acronym?
I think I fucked up the acronym a little bit. It's like ASMR or something like that. It's essentially a similar fad to this, but it's where people get like a really high definition microphone. Mm-hmm. And like eat into it. I know what
this is, yeah.
Or like make noises, like whether it's whispering, eating, licking like a brush. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's like all these it's basically miscellaneous noises. But the only thing I will say with, and before anybody like, you know, hops on my back about this, don't even waste your time. It is meant to be for people. It's like audio therapy.
That's disgusting.
But
like, that is disgusting.
I'm like trying to be passive and like objective with our opinion and stuff, and he's like, that's disgusting. It is a little bizarre, and I think people assume that there's like a sexual nature to it, but apparently there isn't. Apparently it really is just
I
like,
believe that
but I'm like, well, why do you need to hear a girl like licking her
like dipping a Frito in bean dip and
then like
going forward,
breathing on it? I mean, it's bizarre. And the crazy thing is these ASFMR whatever I don't know. They're videos too. They're not just audio. So I'm like, if it is audio therapy, but you're watching it and it's like a pretty girl, like, I don't know.
That's why I'm saying there has to be a sexual side to it. Anyway, but
the internet is insane.
No, the internet's
I mean, the internet's fucking... It's like, get me back to that... You know, there's that website. It's like the Space Jam movie website that was created in 1996 and hasn't been touched since. I like go back on that thing for nostalgia.
No, funnyjunk.com.
Yeah.
Like, if you went to funnyjunk.com, tell me, because I don't want to
oh my god, Homestar Runner. Somebody DM me if you've ever been to Homestar Runner. Like, I miss those
backyard baseball.
Like, clip art. I miss clip art, you know, because in this day where we have social media influencers making money off of like something that takes them 2 seconds, it's not that I'm necessarily against it. It's just so bizarre that it makes me nostalgic for the days where, like, you know, there's only a few .coms.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like a little overwhelmed.
Well, and the crazy thing is, Erin and I just brought up like the extremes of a social media influencer. Like, we're not even talking about people who are doing makeup. Like, those people probably gross the most amount of money.
Yeah, Jeffree Star is a millionaire.
Oh, I'm not even talking... He has, like, a line of makeup. I'm talking about, like, Bretman Rock.
But he started as an influencer. And now he has a line of makeup.
Okay, yeah. Total come up. But I'm just saying, like, makeup, let's see, hair, like, fashion, like, hashtag OOTD, outfit of the day. Like, a lot of girls do that. And guys, too. But... like, the amount of money these people are making is absolutely ridiculous. And we were like, what would your grandparents say if you were like, yeah, I promote XYZ on Instagram
and that's how I make my car payment.
And this is my check. Like
what would my actual grandparents say?
Or just, like, anybody in your family.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't know how... This is what's tricky about our generation, is that I find myself explaining things to adults often and then being like, who thought of this? I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Right.
I mean, it's a crazy concept. I honestly think that if I said to my grandpa, you know, rest his soul, yeah, I sell tea on Instagram and that's how I pay my bills and that's how I have a Ferrari. He'd be like, is the tea like meth? Like, he would think that was a metaphor for like a meth lab. I mean, he would just not believe that was like possible or a thing, or that enough people gave a fuck about tea for that to even be like a market. I mean, he would just be... And it's hard to say, like, I have 10,000 people that follow me, he'd be like, follow you where?
Yeah.
He would literally be like, what does that mean?
Like, is there a new civil rights union?
Right. And it's just like,
I think
it's hard to be like...
would be spinning in his urn. Rest in peace, Grandpa. If he knew that I sold anything or, like, promoted anything on Instagram. Like, but something I do want to point out that I think is important is just looking at this objectively. Like, there has to be... Like, there's more to everybody than what we put out. Like, I sell beer for a living. Like, I'm not, like, a craft beer, like, nerd / enthusiast / I live, breathe beer. Like,
totally.
There's a lot more to me. Same for what you do, Erin. So, like, I just feel like there has to be, like, a point in time. If that's, like, what you're branding yourself as and you are, like, the face of, you know, makeup and your Instagram name and you live your brand and, like, you're always posting on your story, it has to probably be exhausting that, like... You know, you work so hard for your brand that, like, is that what people hit you up about solely? You know, do people think that when they meet you and they know, you know, your platform and stuff, like, do they even bother asking you, A, different questions, but B, like, maybe, like, deeper questions? Because I think a lot of us assume that these, like, social media influencers are, like, kind of, like, level
not
one
real people. Yeah, exactly.
Or just, like, you know,
super shallow.
I mean, yeah, in a sense. I'm not going to call them... I mean, I don't think we're going super shallow.
No, I'm saying that we assume that they're shallow people who are level 1 and don't have the capability to do anything else.
Because we couldn't fathom doing that ourselves. And I think
we couldn't fathom doing that ourselves if we had another skill set. It's kind of like, I think that's how people view it. It's like, if you're selling tea, that means you're good at nothing else.
Right.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah, so I just think that, you know, I have, you know, some sort of empathy for them, because it must be hard to, like, you work so hard to earn all this money to be your brand, and it's like, you know, are you unapproachable at that point? Like, do you get put in this box by, I don't want to put it as broad as society, but, like, that you're just good for this?
Okay, but, I mean, here's the only thing I will have to, like, throw into this mix, and call me a whisk, I know I'm mixing it up, but, like, I just feel... like, a lot of people's argument and rebuttal to what you just said would be that they don't work that hard. I think that's what would be what people say.
Okay.
Like, in comparison to... And this is where we get into different levels of a social media influencer. I mean, someone like Jeffree Star is now a business owner. So you're right. That's a come up. That's a difference. But a girl who's taking a picture of whatever it may be and posting it and directly earning money from posting that picture, I'm going to say 95% of the population is going to tell you that's not working hard.
Okay, but... and, like, quote me if I'm wrong, but I'm not talking about working hard. I'm talking about, like, how... You were just saying, like, working hard for your brand. No, I'm not even talking about working hard. I'm talking about, like, yes, you work so hard for this, but, like, how do people interpret who you are on a day-to-day basis? Or, like, if you're trying to
Because there's nothing else about you.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that they don't work hard or that they do work hard. I'm just saying, like, are you just put in this box that, like, that's all you are?
Because you're talking about...
Because you...
creating a hybrid between your personal social media account and your business. And can you ever escape that? Like, me and you, we have an Instagram for our podcast, and we have our personal Instagrams. And that's what separates us from our brand, so to speak. And you're saying that these social media influencers have a type of burden in the sense that they don't have that separation, and that maybe nobody goes to people like Jeffree Star for anything but makeup advice, because at this point, there is no separation there.
Because they're like, it's not like they're posting pictures with friends on these, and not that either of us would do this, but I think it's the case for, because Erin and I aren't single and haven't been for a while, but I think the case with some single girls is, like, if a guy DMs them, you know, it could go somewhere, they could go on a date. Like, can you imagine, like, having somebody that has, like, 11 million followers messaging you and saying, like, hey, you're kind of cute? Like, you know, what is that like? And they view your profile and you're just, like, you know, you have all these, like,
facade
bougie, exactly, like, filtered up, beaten face, like, you just must be unapproachable when really you're just
I mean, but maybe that's the price of, you know, having your self-madeness be so readily accessible and so easy. I mean, maybe that is the price to pay for having a Ferrari and, you know, not really doing a lot with your days. And maybe that's just my opinion. I don't know. But I think what's interesting about this whole conversation is that our generation really fascinates me. And I don't know if that makes me a narcissist or if that just makes me... or if everybody... It seems to me like everybody has a boner for millennial these days. Everybody...
I don't know.
Well, let me rephrase that. Okay. Everybody, when I say that, I mean everybody's very fascinated by us.
Okay.
Whether that fascination is positive or negative. Like, whether it's a famous thing, an infamous thing, whatever. You know, in the workforce, it's like, people want to know what millennials are thinking because they're who they're selling to. That's the target audience of everybody's always trying to cater to us. Which is kind of a flattering position to be put in, but then at the same time,
especially in like marketing and sales jobs, because they want to know what the new
media jobs
fads are. Oh yeah,
totally. Advertisement jobs. I mean, that's who they're a lot of the times that's who they're targeting. I mean, unless you're selling something like Depends, but I just think
or like windshields.
Yeah, and I always find I have adults in my life who kind of go to me, not even adults, like even just people a couple of years older than me or 10 years older than me, coming to me and being like, blah 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 about your generation. And I find myself like not really being able to explain certain aspects of millennial culture to others, and the biggest one is a social media influencer. Like my mom, I remember on The Bachelor, there was, I think it was The Bachelor, anybody who watches The Bachelor, again, don't come for me, I don't watch it, I don't know, but somebody, you'll be able to answer this. It was like, you know when they say their jobs, in like the beginning or whatever, when there's like a ton of them,
right?
One of them said social media influencer, and I was watching it with our friend, and she was like, wow. And we were both kind of like, whoa, that's like the first time I've ever seen that in writing be considered like a legitimate occupation, in the sense that it was on national TV, written where like the next guy said like, you know, in pediatrics, or like something like it was literally on par with like teacher, you know, so it was like considered a profession, and that's fine. I don't have anything against that. It is a profession. If you're making money from it steadily, I mean, you know, there's a profession for everything. But it was an eye-opening moment for me, and I was just kind of like, if I don't know what that is fully, or can't really wrap my head around that concept, I can't imagine what people like born before the 70s think about that.
It's like interesting too, because excuse me, this guy that I know, who I was actually talking to today, born in probably 87. Generation X ended at like 84, 83. So he's like, I'm a millennial. Because he was...
Oh, yeah.
So
we were talking about
this. But we're like, you know, we're so different. Like, I wish that there was just like... Because the millennial, that when I think of millennial, I think of like clout. Like people trying to look like brat dolls. But like... We're all millennials. Like, there needs to be, like...
a more definitive...
millennials. What?
Yeah. Or even, like, me and you, we were born in 1995. And I even feel a huge difference between people who were born in, like, 2001.
Oh,
like,
hell
massively.
Yeah. No, the fact that 9/11 is in textbooks now as a historical event
is
actually blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even that old, but it's just one of those things.
No, yeah, or like when people are like, haven't seen Ed, Ed and Eddie. I'm like, I really,
bless their hearts. Holy
shit, like I don't mean to sound like a geezer, and I don't think I'm a geezer by any means, and I don't know if it's because I grew up with older sisters or what, but I'm like, it's not... I'm like, what are you learning? How are we in the same generation? So I can't imagine how somebody born in the 80s thinks about us when we walk around and we're like lit all day. They're probably like, what the fuck?
No, if you didn't have a mini clip,
oh my
don't
god,
talk to me. Listen. If you didn't listen to 15-second tracks of the Backstreet Boys, or Shania Twain.
Oh my god, mini clips.
Fuck out of here.
Dude, if you didn't lose your Tamagotchi in the back of your couch for 6 years and then find it and try to turn it back on with the back of an earring, you're not from my generation. Like, you know what I mean? I think every generation has kind of definitive things that unite them with each other, and people think it goes like every 20, 30 years. I'm like, it goes every 5. It seriously goes like every 5.
No, it's true. And I think technology plays a big role in that. But you know what I will say? A lot of parents with young kids can actually understand but maybe not accept what a social media influencer is. Because I'm telling you guys, I have met over half a dozen to a dozen parents whose children obviously take their phones, but they are watching videos of kids open toys. And I'm like, why is that weird? I'm like, why would you do that? And I'm like, wait, I watch HGTV and watch adults buy houses, so I can't really do that. But it's crazy. I mean, these kids are rich, guys. They're fucking rich. Yeah.
And wait, you know what's so weird that you say that? Like, you know, because we're talking about internet trends and whatever. Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about, because my boyfriend's nephew, there's like this whole trend going around in his generation. He's 5, and he like watches other people play games and is like obsessed with it. And I'm just like, that's really puzzling to me. Because if I were that age, I would have been, like, grabbing to the TV, be like, can I play? Like, I would have been confused as to why I wasn't creating the actions of that.
Sure.
Whereas he'll sit there and watch, you know, like, zombie mode, like, watch another kid play a game. And these kids who are playing these games, or these, it's actually, like, this guy named Dan, I mean, he's, like, an adult playing these games. He's a millionaire. I looked up his net worth, and he's a millionaire. I honestly believe that all of those kind of trends were made possible by initially the idea of a social media influencer.
Moving forward, I think a big thing to take away from social media influencers is what it kind of creates as far as self-esteem goes. And I, you know, try to be really conscious of this. Erin and I have talked about how our Instagram profiles exist for ourselves, to have a cool timeline, to make a cool profile for ourselves, to be able
sort
to
of
look
like
back.
Like a yearbook.
Of, exactly.
Totally.
So it's really not about, I don't think, likes. But I think that something that Instagram creates is, like, as we're scrolling through this feed and, like, looking at all these other people, it becomes less about our story and our memories and more about comparing ourselves to others. Yeah, and about everybody else's. And it just, you know, I think in the end diminishes self-esteem, and you spend so much more time thinking about what I could look like, what I should look like, what I would look like if I had XYZ. Yeah. And I think that's really damaging.
Yeah.
You know, women and their standards for beauty, because we obviously know those are very convoluted.
Men and their standards as well.
Yeah, which is actually something that gets ignored, I think, way too much.
What's interesting to think about is all the different things that a platform like Instagram has created in our society and in our culture as a generation is, you have people making money off it, right? You have people making, like, social, you know, you have people who have actually turned that into monetary value. Full-time job. And then you have an idea, you know, just on a more personal level, like, of people that aren't famous or social media influencers or whatever, just everyday users of Instagram. You have exactly what you said. You know, you have what probably started as a very good-natured idea. You know, keep your pictures all in one place. Post it with cool filters. Anybody who isn't a photographer, get into photography. Like, I do believe that to a certain extent, they probably, you know, the creators of Instagram probably had some pretty pure intentions. And then Stephanie's cat just, like, chimed in. And then you have and then you have what it actually became. Right. And I think that's where social media kind of becomes its own thing that nobody can control. It's not really anybody's fault. I don't know if you can really point the finger at anybody about the way that Instagram's become.
I think, you know, even though we kind of just wanted to discuss and look into what the actual fuck is a social media influencer and how does that work in this lifestyle and economy, but I think what we are trying to kind of get at more is worry less about the would'ves, could'ves, should'ves. I mean, in a way, that's like a Pandora's box of hope and regret. Yeah. So if you can just spend less time comparing yourself to others, I think that your self-worth will actually shoot through the roof.
So let us know what you think a social media influencer is, how you feel about it, where you think it fits in our society today. We want to know, we want to hear, and most importantly, we want to learn.
Yeah, and if you think that your self-esteem has been affected by the culture that Instagram kind of creates and stuff like that, tell us. Like,
also, you're not alone.
Yeah, seriously. So, thank you guys for listening. We're seriously so gracious that anybody would listen to us talk for 30 minutes.
After last week.
Thank you guys so much.
Hang up your cup, pinkies up, and we'll see you next week. Bye.